Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have an update video for you all about the two beautiful plants I have behind me here. Now you can see the one that is on a totem reaching up to the top of my north facing window here at our crystal cottage. That is my beautiful Scindapsus pictus Silvery Anne. And by the side of that, this beautiful one here that is actually trailing down into my stairwell around 2 meters long is my beautiful Scindapsus pictus Argyraeus. And in a moment I will show you down into the stairwell so you can see just how long that beautiful plant is. It's down actually where it meets the top of my Epipremnum aureum golden. So we'll have a look at that in a moment. But I just wanted to show you these plants because I did a video, or I did a couple of videos a while back now, and you can go back and see those videos to see how I repotted. And I bought, at least I know I bought this Scindapsus pictus Silvery Anne on a smaller totem, and I decided I wanted it longer. So I unraveled it from that smaller totem and put it around a longer one, and it was just grown up and thickened out. I even downsized the pot from a bigger pot to a smaller pot so that I would be able to fit it into my windowsill here because this is exactly where I wanted it to be. And of course that would not normally be a recommendation. I actually went in and I cut some of the roots off, put it in this soil, put it in this pot, and this plant took off and it did wonderfully for me. But if you should do that, I would really recommend you be careful, especially if you're having a hard time finding these kind of plants. I wanted to make an experiment out of this and it worked out for me. It's worked out fantastically. So this is the result of that. And the other plant, I can't remember if it was a hanging plant or if it was on a totem as well, but either way, I put it into this pot here and it has just grown out much longer. I'm sure it was on a totem because it is really long, and I'm not sure if it's just grown that long in the time I've had it. It was a while back when I made those videos, as I said. So I want to show you some small details about the plants because there are a lot of people that are worried about when these plants get yellowing leaves or brown tips and so forth. Yes, these plants both have just a couple of leaves that are yellow and just a couple of leaves that have browny tips and so forth. That could be due to not enough humidity in the room. It could be due to the temperature drop sometimes, so it gets a little bit too chilly for them. And that can cause them to get browning ends on the tips. The yellowy leaves, that could be overwatering because these are in a plastic pot inside a cover pot with no drainage holes in the bottom of the cover pot. But I don't water these that often, but when I water them, I do try to water them through, and maybe now and again, it could be that I've done that a little bit too much and it hasn't dried out quick enough because it is quite dark in this area of our cottage. As I said, this is only a north-facing window where they're getting the light, and down into the stairwell, well, there's not much light at all, but my Scindapsus pictus Argyraeus is actually coping with that anyway. So that could be the reason why there are some yellowing tips. And what I can go and do with the one that's on the totem here is go and turn it around. So I'm going to clip off these yellow leaves and then I will turn the plant around because then you'll actually see as well that most of the leaves were facing towards the window. So it's a little bit thicker maybe on the other side than this side. And I'll bring those yellow leaves in just to show you, and the ones with brownie tips as well, just so you can see that. But apart from that, these plants are looking wonderful. So when I've done a little bit of grooming, I'm going to take you in for a close look of these beautiful plants. So I've got myself a little pot and some scissors. And what I need to do is just move my table side here down so I can get in closer to my plant. And get some of these leaves chopped off.
Snip, snip, chop, chop, la, 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 nearly done, and back to my video. This is so much fun.
So, I've clipped off the yellow leaves now. I've taken off the brown dead leaves and dying leaves. And there weren't actually that many, there were just a few, so I'm really happy about that. So I just want to bring these in so you can have a look at a few different leaves when they are spent and ready to fall off. So right, here we go. This is the first leaf, and this is of my Scindapsus pictus Argyraeus. So I want to bring this in so you can see it's got a bit of a browning tip on the end of it here and a slight bit of yellowing starting out on it. So if you have a look at that, there you go, a little bit of browning. And what you can do is you can go in and you can prune that brown end off if the rest of the leaf, like this one, looks fine to you. That's fine, that will heal over on the end and you will have the rest of the leaf. Otherwise, you can just prune it off like I have. This is not spreading actually to the rest of the leaf. So I could have kept it, but well, I decided to take it off to show you in this video. But what a beautiful leaf it is anyway. Look at the patterning in this lovely, lovely leaf. So that was the first one. Let me show you a yellowing leaf now. So now this little leaf is of my Scindapsus pictus Silvery Anne. And in the yellow style, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Imagine having a whole plant that is supposed to be this yellow when I bring it in closer for you to look at. But this is basically just a spent leaf, so you can either pull it off if it breaks off easily like this leaf did, or you can go in and prune it off with some scissors and it will be no problem for your plant. Your plant will carry on producing new leaves by itself. So if you see this, just check that you haven't overwatered your plant, or that your plant is not in an area that's too dark, for example, or in an area where it's way too bright. You can also get burnt and yellow leaves because of that. So there are many different things that can cause yellow leaves, but if you only see one or two, like on my plant, it is not a problem. It's the plant naturally shedding leaves and it will produce new ones. So let's have a look at this closer up. So look at this beautiful leaf. Isn't that amazing? The lovely patterning going on in it. And it's still got its lovely shape. It's a perfect shape. This leaf has no browning whatsoever in it. It is just spent and ready to fall off. No problem for the plant whatsoever. And well, also I had a couple of just brown leaves and I will show you those. So this is nothing really spectacular and nothing to worry about at all. It's leaves that had obviously dried up and want to fall off the plant, but they've been stuck in between the vines and so forth. These could have been yellow before when I haven't been here and dried out, and yeah, they're just ready to fall off and the plant will carry on growing out new leaves, as I said before. So don't ever worry about going in and seeing browning plants on parts of your plant as well. It's absolutely normal for plants to shed out leaves from time to time. So look at these closer up. There we go, few spent brown leaves. And well, in nature, these would go back, fall onto the ground and create more mulch and more nutrients for the plants. So these are an integral part of the cycle of plants creating their own food to survive, and therefore no big problem. Just clear them out of your pot indoors so you don't have fungus growing in under them, and that could cause a problem for your plants indoors because you don't have rain and wind and all the other elements to keep a cycle going. They will just sit there and they could rot out and cause a problem if there's too much moisture. So just clean out your plant and you are ready to go. So now let's go in and have a closer look at these two plants and how they're doing for me. And I will tell you a few other things as I go along. So let's have a look at this beautiful Scindapsus pictus Silvery Anne in the middle of my north facing window here that's been doing so well for me. Looking beautiful still and growing out wonderfully, and I keep it pruned at the top of the totem so that it fits in this window all the time, and you can see that it does get light in through the window. So if we look down here, you can see my Scindapsus pictus and you can see just how long it's got all the way down into my stairwell here. All the way down here, very happy, and here is where it meets my Epipremnum aureum golden, which is also very happy in the stairwell here. So here's a little meditating frog I found when I was in Beijing, and a piece of quartz I found in my garden. Piece of quartz in under my Epipremnum aureum golden here, which are some cuttings I took of a plant that I had to get rid of when I moved many years ago, 6 years ago. I didn't have space for it, it was huge, and I kept small cuttings and I planted these and they've grown up this totem like this, and they go on and meet with my Scindapsus pictus. Look how wonderful it is. It's very happy, and it goes all the way up the center of the stairwell here. There's a yellow leaf I didn't manage to get off there. But as you can see, the whole plant is lovely and green. And it goes on and on and on and on and on, all the way up here, all the way up to the window, as you can see here. Absolutely beautiful. So if we zoom out, you get more of a contrast of how high up and how long this plant actually is. There we go. I love it. So if I try and film my Scindapsus pictus from the top downwards, you can see how long it is as it tumbles down into the stairwell here. Look at that. It's just lovely. I'm so pleased with these plants, and they're doing well even in a northern facing window. This beautiful skull I have down here is a tiger iron skull. And I have my rose quartz skull here. And I have my lapis lazuli skull here. And I have a selenite skull here. And I have a little blue kyanite skull here on top of my amethyst crystals. And behind those, this is my beautiful Dracaena trifasciata moonshine that's also doing absolutely beautifully for me. So let's get back to looking at my lovely Scindapsus pictus Silvery Anne here, closer up. How beautiful it is actually looking as well. And there are tendrils coming off, or vines, that I can prune and propagate into new plants. See here, she's absolutely gorgeous. Slight little pruning, and she's done and looks lovely. Look at these lovely leaves here. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing my two beautiful varieties of Scindapsus pictus plants here, my Silvery Anne and my Argyraeus down here, and how well they're doing after having been repotted after I bought them from a garden centre. And there's just a couple of things I want to say about that. If you don't need to go in and fuss around with these plants and repot them, when you bring them home, then don't do it. Don't mess with what's not broken, the general rule. So if the pot size is fine for you and you can fit it in an area where you want it to be, leave the plant be. It will be very happy like that. If it's very root bound, then you can be ready to pot it up into a slightly larger pot. Nothing ever too big, because that will stress out the plant trying to produce lots of roots to fill out the space, and it will stop producing as many leaves for you, or it could just grow a load of vines that have no leaves on them. So remember that. And as I say, what I do and what I show in my videos sometimes is me experimenting in my private home, in my own private way, because I like to do different things. But always go out and look at different videos to see general consensus of all different types of plants if you want to see the safest bet for you in your home environment. So when I put this plant behind me into a smaller pot, well, that is something that nobody would ever really do, but I needed to do it to fit it into this space, and it's just worked out fine for me. I'm very happy. And my other plant too is very happy. And they're in plastic pots. I would have preferred actually to repot them and put them in terracotta pots, but I'm actually not here all the time. And if they're in terracotta pots here and they're left too long without being watered, then they suffer and they come back and the leaves will be all crinkly and the plant will be stressed out and have to repump up its leaves with moisture again in a much shorter period of time than they are in these pots. I can leave them in these pots for a good 2-3 weeks without having to water them at all. And during the winter time, probably only once a month. It depends on the humidity and the heat and so forth that's going on when we're here. When we have our wood burner on and so forth, the air gets quite dry, so they'll still need to be watered. But they've been in this position now for well over a year and they are doing fine. And well, every vine that gets too long, you can go in, prune back, make yourself cuttings and make yourself a new plant. Water propagations in perlite, in lacquer balls, in soil, in a plastic bag or not in a plastic bag, in a grow tent, or you can do it outside in the summer. You can do air layering. There are so many different methods for propagating this plant and it's very easy to propagate. So have as much fun as possible with these beautiful plants when in the right conditions they grow out very fast anyway, so you're going to have to go and prune back. Why not experiment with those parts? So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed the update video of these wonderful plants and the few care tips I have about them. And well, all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up. And I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.